Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, our tribe found themselves in a mysterious new place. This mountain is not only encased by ice, but it seems to be suspended in time itself. While we have tons and tons of these little bunny burrows and clovers for them to eat too, the mountains have been surprisingly quiet. Not a single bunny is hopping around these cliff sides. We haven't seen very much food either. Basically, all we have to work with are a couple of measly roots, and we found some shells by the shore too. So the hope is that some of the new children born will be able to provide us with the food we need to survive, because unless these bunnies come hopping out of their burrows soon, I think our tribe is going to be in trouble. We have actually seen a bluebird spawn though, and I'm sure that's a good sign for our tribe. It means the ancestors are watching once more. They've managed to find us here, and it almost seems like they're trying to lead our tribe up to the tallest peaks. I wonder if maybe Lorana is going to decide to follow it. She will have to put together a traveling team though. There's no way that she'll be able to survive all on her own, especially because we know that the storm is coming soon. Unfortunately, as always, it seems the weather has been reset since we restarted the game, but I'm sure that the snow is just around the corner still. We'll have to check in again with Prophet once we skip a couple more days. Maybe Prophet would be a good one for her to take? I know for sure that she would want to ask Charm to go with her. He's been by her side since day one. So as we scooter on up to the boys, let's have Marina take over as the den mother for now. Since Lorana doesn't quite trust Catnip enough for the job and she's a little bit too far away anyways, we'll have our brand new ancient healer watch after all of the little ones. She will have some help, of course. We'll have Ramila stay behind too. She could even settle down right next to Marina and maybe pack up some of the nests. Or I suppose we could always leave them for now. Maybe as a nice cozy place for all the kids to settle into every night. It's not as though we're really hurting for nesting material right now anyways, so we could always repair these nests once they get too old. Yeah, I think we'll try our best to keep these nests right inside the nursery, so we know that this is our home base. Goodness knows we're probably going to end up losing it once it does start to snow after all. That's part of the reason why I want to send our creatures off toward these glaciers sooner rather than later. Hopefully we can find a good traveling team to go searching for those. I mean, if we have a digging trunk creature in one of these glaciers, that would be excellent. As it is right now, poor Silver is pretty much the only creature who can dig up the roots at all. So let's bring him right up here to the hot springs. That way he'll be able to pick up this root on the next turn. I wonder if he would try to go with Lorana. Maybe he's noticed the bluebird too and he just wants to do his part. And for that matter, since he smells so many of these delicious roots up the tallest peaks, he probably figures he could gather quite a bit of food for them. But Prophet is not so convinced. Not only is he suspicious of Lorana herself, but he is very, very suspicious of Silver too. Silver was supposedly cursed by daybreak. That's why he has those sunny spots, and that's why he has the digging paw as well. We figured that Prophet probably can't even see Silver in his visions, just like how Daybreak muddied the visions of our oracles on the previous island. So Prophet would really rather have nothing to do with this little platypus-beaked creature, and I think he would probably tell him as much. If they're going to be leading their leaders up to the tallest peaks after all, they don't need a ruin following them too. So we'll have him push his way past Silver as he leads Lorana up toward the bluebird. Probably hoping that being higher up like this will help him see clearer visions too. It seemed to work for his uncles after all, Ember and Spark, so maybe he wants to find a good place on top of one of these stumps. Is this actually the tallest stump in the entire mountain? Like right in the middle of this mountain? Oh my gosh, that one has to be pretty special. Maybe we'll have to bring you over to that one instead. So Charm, why don't you come over here so you can light up the way to this stump, then Prophet should be able to see for miles. You'll be able to sniff around and maybe see if there's some more food up here. Oh, look at all those roots. No wonder Silver wanted to come this way. Well, there's no way that he's going to be able to follow them now. I guess we'll just have to hope that more roots have spawned down here in the meantime. Maybe Silver would be a good one to add to the traveling group, the ones that are going to go along the shore. He can dig up the roots while the other babies pick up the shells, And if they happen to find any tasty little worms down here too, that would be another good thing that he could dig up for them. We'll bring Lorana right to Charm's side, and I suppose we could have one of the two pick up these flowers. I would kind of prefer to have Prophet call out on the stump though. Should we maybe wait? Maybe until he gets to the tallest one? He probably wants to save his powers. So for now you can go ahead and pick up these little flowers, and we'll have Charm try his best to paw at the ground. I wonder what he feels about all of this. I wonder if he feels a little bit sorry for Silver. It's not as though his family truly feared daybreak, so he probably doesn't understand all of this strange drama. Well, Catnip, you don't really understand the trauma either, do you? Let's bring you up to the stump. We'll have Atalanta help you build your nest so you can finally have your baby on the next turn. She's probably so tired, and I'm sure that Atalanta can sense that. I suppose we could have you try to dig up some roots to feed her. Oh, but it is such a tough job when you're not a gravedigger like Silver. He's really going to have to find somebody to start a family with too. That's why I want to find a digging-trunked creature, but we're not going to let him pass away without having a few babies. I'm sure our sweet little cinnamon roll is quite interested in Catnip as well. Since he saw his mother go off in this direction, he probably just wants to follow her. I wonder if he would try to, but if Ramila would pull him back with a pig bearina claw. Don't you dare think that you're getting away from the nursery, little one. There is still danger in the skies. We don't need a creature who looks so much like Adam himself getting swept away now, do we? That orange fur and those dark stripes. If he only had the poison fangs, he might actually be able to rival Adam. One of you mentioned, though, with his paws, the bearina claw and the mammoth foot, it's almost like he's carrying a little sword and shield combo, and I absolutely love that. It fits his story so well, too, because his mother is kind of like the Knight of the Mountain. She's made it her duty to keep everybody safe, so our sweet little cinnamon roll will be following in her footsteps, if he can ever get away from Ramila anyways. You don't even have any roots to dig up out here, do you? I guess we're probably going to have to skip the day then. Everything else is a little bit too far away, and you have to watch Cinnamon like a hawk as it is. So, Marina, we'll have to leave you there too. After this turn, I think a couple of the children should be old enough to stray away from the adults. But for now, we've all got to stick together here. So let's go ahead and skip the turn, and maybe see if Catnip's baby is going to have that lovely bearina snout just like she does. Oh my gosh. Oh, not a bearina snout at all. It looks like he may have taken after his father a little bit more. So he has the gills just like Spell. Oh my gosh, he's actually adorable though. I love how he has the brown mane. It's almost like that's some of that extra fluff that the bearina snout creatures are known for. So he still has quite a bit of his mother's genetics in him too. They're just a little bit harder to see. And despite the fact that he has the gills, he also has the big body and that warm medium tail as well. So he's actually going to be able to travel the mountain without anybody at his side. He should be hardy enough to survive the cold mountain air. Quite different from what we're used to of our aquatic creatures who are often so cold, but that's why we chose the gills over the water body. So let's see if we can find a good name for him. I think a plant name would probably work best with her family. And since it is so close to the holiday season still, why don't we name this little baby Mistletoe? Naturally, even though he doesn't have the bearina snout, we're still going to make sure that his mother can craft him a nice flower crown to go on top of his head. Might not help him as much either if he's going to be swimming around in the ocean. Oh, and look at the lighting here. It's almost like the dawn sun is lighting up these shores. Oh, that is gorgeous. Well, it must be intriguing quite a few of our babies. I'm sure that Duke Nuki is really looking forward to getting on down to those shores and finding some shells for his mother. He has the heat body too. He's the only baby to be blessed by Melody so far, which I thought was interesting since his mother isn't exactly known for accepting all the creatures in her tribe. She holds her family very dearly, and her friends as well, of course, but when it comes to creatures like Catnip, she isn't so willing to accept them. and I'm not sure that Melody would take too kindly to her biased way of thinking. That's why Melody was banished from her tribe when she was still alive. Her family didn't accept her anymore after they figured that she started all of those raging wildfires. So I wonder if some of those whispers are ending up in Duke Nukir's mind. Maybe he'll be the first one to realize the true discord within their tribe, and maybe he'll try to bring them all together. But for now, since he does actually have his second gem, maybe it's time that we lead him down to the shore. We can bring him right over here next to our sweet little cinnamon bun, and we'll have Cinnamon move toward his mother too. Oh, he is probably going to love playing with the new little baby. These two are going to end up being the best of friends. We could even have Cinnamon set up over here, almost like he is scouting around for potential dangers, and I'm sure that his mother would be super, super proud of him. Let's have her continue trying to dig up this little root over here for now. I mean, I know it's not much and it's kind of a waste. Oh, we have some water-breathing plants down here too. That's kind of interesting. Like, I'm not really sure why we would even need that, to be honest, since we can just reach all of these water tiles right from the shore. Well, maybe if we need to heal up our creatures, that does heal them a little bit of damage too. So if our purr snouts can't reach them in time, we could have them nibble on some of those healing fruits. Well, Silver, at least you can dig up this root for us, and then I guess you're going to have to sulk on back home. But not for very much longer. He seems like the type of creature who could bounce back pretty quickly, and we know that he has a nice big destiny ahead of him. Now if he tries to dig up this root, that does mean that he's going to get a little bit too cold on the next turn, unless we have somebody huddle around him right now. I mean, I suppose Ramila could always come over here. We'll have her settle down inside the clovers maybe? That way she's still right next to her little baby. And we'll have to change her gems too. But what colors should we pick? Her father was oak, so he had the pink gems. And I guess that would probably make the most sense. That's what her grandfather Dusksoul had too, and since she is clearly taking after him, we'll have her settle down with those pink gems on her chest. You know, I wonder if she could actually learn a bit from Marina. Maybe we could have Marina purr for all of the babies, in fact, even Scrooge, greedy little Scrooge, coveting all of that sweet purring magic. But for Coco, this is a great opportunity for her to learn a thing or two from an actual healer. So let's have her toddle on over here, and we'll see if Marina wouldn't mind mentoring her as she grows. I'm actually quite curious about this place over here too. With all of these hot springs and these stumps, I feel like this would make a pretty good place for our healers to settle down. They could set up on top of the stumps, and if they get a little bit too cold, they could always take a dip inside the hot springs. But this would be a good place for them to heal other creatures too, who may have been left in the cold for too long. So we might want to start bringing them over that way, and since it is so close to our nursery anyways, it would be even more fitting as a healer's grotto. Now, Ramila being next to you is all well and good, but we still need a third creature to keep you warm, Silver. So let's have Duke Nukir toddle his way over to your side. With that heat body, you guys are going to be feeling toasty warm in no time. Now let's have Catnip jump down from her stump throne. Maybe over here? This would probably be a better space for her. That way she's closer to the nursery, so we can still move her over to the babies if we need to. We just need her to be in the right place at the right time if any danger pops up, which is definitely easier said than done. Then we'll go back to our bluebird leader and see what she's going to discover up here in the mountains. What did the bluebird want to show us? So far I'm not seeing anything. It's still just as quiet up here as ever, though I suppose it could always be trying to lead us toward this other glacier. I wonder if we should try to grab this thing before it starts to snow. I guess it depends what Prophet says once we skip this day. So let's bring Charm way up here, that way he can really light up the way for us. We need them all to stick together, but we might be able to move Prophet over to the tallest stump on this turn. Yeah, I think if we bring Lorana up here, then Charm right next to the stump, you should be able to settle on top of this one on this turn. So what do you see now, Prophet? There's no taller place that you could possibly be. Like, literally the only thing I see up here is roots. So I wonder if he's like kicking himself right now, just for not letting Silver go with them. Or if he considers this to be another message from Daybreak and his infamous curse. Maybe this is Daybreak trying to tell him that he and his family will never escape the curse. Or at least that's what Prophet thinks. I wonder if he's even turning his attentions to Laurana. He was very suspicious of her to begin with. Maybe he truly thinks that her presence is causing this now, but it's not as though he can really just get rid of their bluebird leader. His ancestors would definitely not be too pleased with him. So for now, we'll settle down our creatures right inside these hot springs. That way they'll be all toasty warm for the next journey. I wonder if we can bring them down to the glacier on the next turn. We'll have Prophet go ahead and call out on his stump. One quick message to the ancestors. Maybe a little plea for good luck. And then I believe we should be ready to skip the day once more. So after this, we should be ready to bring our creatures down to the shore to go searching for the shells again. Though it is a little bit worrying that quite a few of them have disappeared in the meantime. It doesn't look like Cinnamon can see them down in the ocean anymore. I wonder if maybe something else will spawn on the mountain then? I mean, a balance bear even. It would be pretty hard for us to take it down, but it would also give us quite a bit of food. I wonder if we'll have to wait for it to snow first. Well, Prophet, what do you say now? Is it about to snow? Oh, and 5 more days. That is quite a while, buddy. So I guess this is a good time for us to get moving. So we'll have him send Laurana out first. She could actually skip her way all the way over to the stump, which should light up quite a bit of room for Charm to go dashing down the cliffs. The question is Prophet going to join them? He has no reason to stick with them. If he would prefer to just sit up here and call out to the ancestors all day long, that would be perfectly fine. He definitely wouldn't freeze. But Charm and Laurana are going to be in quite the sore situation if they don't get down to that glacier fast. I think she's probably so focused on this thing now that she's seen it from the stumps. She probably doesn't even realize that Prophet isn't even following them at all. But they're close enough now, so they should be okay. They just need to wait that one extra turn to crack open this glacier. So we'll make sure that Charm lights the place up, and hopefully keeps this area safe for Laurana to join him. Oh my gosh, wait a second. You're not part of our tribe, little one. You almost look like you could be. You blend in pretty well with that fur of yours. Oh, and she's actually quite a bit older than most of our tribe mates too. And she's completely infertile. Oh, that is such a bummer. She actually wouldn't be able to offer us too much. Though with that crocker jaw, I suppose she could always pick up a couple of the shells. I'm just not sure if it would be worth giving her 5 pieces of our food. I guess she is rather lucky that she settled down next to Atalanta, our little knight. And she's getting pretty old too, so she probably knows how it feels. Maybe she would come over very tentatively to Lamim and quietly slip her some food over by the rocks. Very, very secretively, of course, so nobody would notice. She doesn't want word getting back to their leaders about her dipping into their food for a wanderer. But Lamim is so grateful, I'm sure she would go diving straight into the ocean to find some shells to repay Atalanta. Maybe she would even be willing to go with the kids. Since they're all old enough now, they have their second gems, they should be ready to go on their big adventure. So she could kind of be like the adult supervision, if you will. I guess that's going to fall on your shoulders too, Silver, which is kind of funny if you think about it. He does not seem like the sort of creature who would be good at keeping track of kids. He'd be more likely to just let them run amok, but that's only because he trusts them. He trusts these kids not to get into too much trouble, and that just might end up being his undoing. So, still no shells down here? That is really starting to worry me. We had so many shells when we were coming in, but Scrooge, I don't see a single shell down here that you can grab. Let's bring Duke Nukier over here to the hot springs. Not that he really needs it. I suppose he could always warm up this place a little bit more with that heat potty of his. Make it like a boiling hot spring, maybe. He can be their little tea kettle, since they won't be making any bunny stew anytime soon. And last but not least, Lamim, we'll have you come down the shore as well. Maybe she even knows a little bit more about the lay of the land. Maybe she knows where they can actually find some shells to scoop up, so she would probably be a good one for them to take along the journey anyways. She's probably seen quite a few things in her time. It's interesting though, since she's the only creature we found, aside from the one in the glacier at least. She's the only living creature on this island. I wonder if she washed ashore just like our tribe did. She's found herself trapped in this timeless place for so long. She thought she was the only creature still alive in this world. So it's no wonder that she tried to sneak her way into our tribe. She just wanted a little bit of company again. Now with all of the babies gone, I think it's about time for Marina to take little Coco over to the stumps in the hot springs. We could even call this the Siren Springs maybe, since we could have our creatures call out from the tree stumps. Maybe we could find even more helpful wanderers that way, and I'm sure they would be attracted to the calls of a healer anyways, especially if they've taken any damage. Now Cinnamon, would you kindly watch after Mistletoe for us? We'll just have Mistletoe scoot on over to this tree stump, that way the two boys can play. I suppose we could even have Cinnamon guide him toward the water. Since he does have the gills, he would probably love to swim around, but he'll still need somebody supervising him, of course. And you know, since we'll need somebody to tend to the nests anyway, Catnip would make the perfect den mother. She already knows how to craft the best flower crowns in all the land, so I bet she really knows how to put together a good nest too. I kind of feel like Ramila would stick around here just because she's so suspicious, just like her sister. I mean, this creature does have the bear hyena snout too, and Ramila was known for taking down bear hyenas in her time. So she probably just wants to make sure that Catnip isn't going to call any bear hyena friends to the nursery, any bear hyenas to snack on their babies perhaps. So we'll have her stay put for now. She could maybe search for some roots if we only had some for her to dig up, but it looks like the place is still unfortunately bare. Let's bring her up this way then, that way she can light up more of this land. And I swear I'm hearing somebody move around. Did you hear that? It was almost like somebody picked up some grass. But it's not as though we have grass out here for them to pick up. Maybe instead they grabbed some of the mountain flowers. Oh, do you think somebody is out there trying to build a nest for themselves? Maybe they're trying to make a base too, just like our tribe? Very, very mysterious. Maybe that's a good enough reason for Prophet to stay behind to see if he can find this mysterious stranger. Let's have you call out to the ancestors again. It's something that your uncles did so well, so you probably want to make them proud too. Maybe Prophet is even hoping that his uncles can hear him from way on top of the mountain like this, even from all the way back on their previous home. So are we out of turns now? We need to make sure that Cinnamon is going to be right next to the baby. I suppose we could always have him toddle off of his stump, as Atalanta still tries to dig up that stubborn root. I don't know if it's ever going to happen for you, little one. Maybe we could have your son come over here to try to dig up the root instead. I mean, with both of you pawing at the ground, sooner or later that stubborn thing is going to come up. So let's go ahead and skip the day once more. And then after this night, we should be ready to open up the second glacier of the mountain. Oh, and it must be the right time because it looks like our second bluebird has arrived. It's quite clear that they want you to keep going toward this thing. Or perhaps they've come to keep an eye on Prophet. Lorana is getting pretty cold after all. Luckily, she can skip right over to the glacier, so she should still be able to crack this thing open. But we'll have to make sure that Charm is sitting right by her side too. We want all of these creatures to be nice and toasty warm. And yet there is definitely somebody wandering around these parts. I mean, it couldn't be a bunny, could it? That would be pretty excellent if the bunnies are just hopping around. Oh, wait a second. Oh, I wonder if it's actually one of the walrus deer. Oh my gosh, I forgot that they even existed. Yes, the walrus deer wander around during the day too, and I remember them making just as much noise. Oh, that would be so perfect if a walrus deer ended up wandering into our tribe. We certainly have enough able-bodied hunters to take one of those down, and that would definitely fill up our food stores again. But I guess for Lorana, there are some bigger concerns right now. Not only is she about to crack open this glacier, but she's also pretty close to those strange ice-covered ports too. I suppose she could always take this information back to her tribe. That way, everyone will know what they're up against. Maybe she'll even try to send her son over here to melt them. But let's go, Lorana. Channel all of your good fortune from the ancestors. Please, oh please, give us a digging trunk. Oh? Okay. Another little purse now? But with 2 wings. Oh my gosh. Oh, you must be part of Marina's tribe? Anako, I wonder if maybe she's even like her little sister? Oh, you are so precious. Let's get a better look at you, little one, with those beautiful dove wings of yours. Oh, she is the cutest little bird cat I've ever seen. Well, the wings are definitely one genetic that I was not expecting to see in Adam's Quest. Since I figured we were long past the point of going to Whale Island, I wasn't sure that our tribe would ever run into a wanderer with the wings. But Anako here has proven me wrong. And I guess the bluebird has too. That's probably why the bluebird was circling overhead this glacier. It knew that it had a pretty special gift waiting inside. So we'll want to make sure that Anako stays right next to all of these creatures for now. I suppose we could always bring her over to the other side of Lorana, but maybe we should have her use her turns to try to dig up these roots instead. We just so desperately need the food right now. And of course, that gene should be the wings unlocked in our mutation menu. Let's just double check to make sure. Do we have those lovely wings waiting for us? Yes, excellent. So Anako should be able to get around this place with no trouble at all. I guess that's probably why she was so far away from her big sister. Marina probably sent her off to escape the island when it seemed like things were taking a turn for the worst. But she couldn't get out before the island became trapped in ice. Well, I'm glad that we were able to free her before Marina ended up passing away. She still has plenty of time left on her lifespan, so I think they'll be able to reunite. Now let's have Marina dip her toes into the hot springs. It looks like both of our healers are getting pretty cold. That is the one problem with them settling down here. We'll have to make sure that they have plenty of company or plenty of patience, because they can't sing if they're too cold themselves. And look at this, little Miss Catnip. You have your very first nest to repair. Let's have her put this all back together with the many different plants she's gathered over the years. This place is going to be in tip-top shape by the time our bluebird leader returns. I think Lorana is probably going to be pretty impressed. Maybe she'll even be willing to trust Catnip a little bit more when she sees how well she's kept this thing handled. Ramila, meanwhile, perhaps in part due to her chilly heart, is feeling pretty cold all on her own in the mountains. All she can really do is settle down in defeat inside these hot springs because she's just not willing to trust Catnip just yet. Maybe she's climbing the mountains in search for her sister. And I wonder if she would even hear those mournful calls of Prophet. Let's have him try one more time, just one more turn calling out to the skies to see if he can summon anything to his side. Nope, little guy. It looks like you're all alone. The ancestors are not very pleased with you. That is definitely clear. So I wonder if he'll take this as his chance to strike off on his own. Maybe if we're lucky, he'll even be the one who finds that walrus deer. Or maybe you guys will instead. It's not as though you're finding very much food down here at all. Still no shells for you to pick up. Oh, this is really worrying. That is so upsetting too, because we saw so many when we were coming through before. Where on earth did all of your shells go? Do you think maybe Scrooge is scooping them up? We did say he'd probably be a greedy little kid who just doesn't want to share his shells. Maybe he's actually picking them up before our tribe even notices. That way he can stash them away for later. That would not surprise me one bit. Well, maybe we could have Duke Nukier jump on top of the stump in the next turn. That way he can light up a little bit more of the area for the tribe. But I guess if nothing else, the good news is that this traveling group should be able to make their way to the glacier in the next episode. Now we only have one more shot to see the ticking trunk on this island, so fingers crossed this is going to be the lucky one. We haven't explored the side of the island yet either, so I suppose there's probably a bit more potential there for roots, for our lovely little platypus to dig up. He's going to have to find something to bring back to the tribe, or else nobody is ever going to believe him about Daybreak's supposed gifts. This is his one and only shot to prove that he's not as cursed as Prophet believes, so I hope his luck will turn around when we see him again. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!